Welcome to Friday Facts number 426. We have research, resource searching, and assembly GUI improvements. And I have my improved friend with me. How you doing, Mojo?
Hello.
So today is a Friday Facts that we're both technically right. We both called it previously.
Technically right, yeah, but not really right. I mean, I kept saying we're overdue for a boring one.
No.
Boring, but
We called, well, at least I called, that eventually we'd have something like rate calculator built into the game, and it's sort of here. Sort of being the right word.
sort of, yeah.
But first off, we're going to start with resource searching. So there's been a couple of mods. There's been a couple of mods previously that would let you, well, it would auto tag every resource patch you found on the map and put a little map marker with how much resources were there. On top of that, you could always just, use your mouse and put it over an ore patch like we have here with the iron ore.
Or just jump in a multiplayer game and someone will eventually do it for you.
Oh yeah, they'll eventually tag every damn resource patch with exactly how much is there. I don't care how much is there. I care what's there and why hasn't it been tapped yet. They're the important things. But
See, that's my problem, is that why are you tagging it? Why aren't you mining it?
Yeah. Go out there with some train tracks and some miners and some defenses and get it done. But if you hovered your mouse over resource patches, you would get the total amount in there, what sort of ore it was, that sort of stuff. That's now built to a search, which is handy because you can now search different patches and they'll show up. And it means there's no hunting for that resource and then realizing you missed a stone patch that was really close to base when you desperately needed stone and you travel 5 miles out into the middle of nowhere to grab that only patch that you can see on the map. Because that's happened to me more than once. Way more than once.
The old phantom stone patches from version 16 map view coming back.
Yeah, because they were the exact same color as this desert, weren't they?
Yeah, the light desert color. They were the same color, or nearly the same color, so they just disappeared.
They just disappeared entirely. It's improved, but it's still, there are definitely times I've missed stone. So that has been improved, and they say that they mainly improved that because of coal on Volcanatus. So yeah, they took some care to make the work in a performance-friendly way. The game doesn't keep track of all the generated ores, as there's just too many of them. Search needs to check every charted chunk to find them all. We run the search in a separate thread and only populate the final result when it's ready. This way, searching a large map doesn't introduce any stutter. We also added the ability to pin the resource patch and the count of the remaining ore update as the patch is mined. You can use this to keep an eye on how things are going and be aware of when a patch is running dry. The search helps solve another issue, and that is depending on the combination of resources, terrain color, the resource can be difficult to spot. Example being Narvis and stone, or Volcanatus and coal. Because, yeah, that would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit dark, but it's not the worst. But it is an improvement.
It's a vast improvement.
Also add that, so mining drills have a circuit connection with two outputs, which is, one is the ore immediately underneath the mining drill, and the other one is the ore remaining on the whole patch. So what you can do is you can wire a programmable speaker to a ore patch, and then you can get an obnoxiously global alert to tell you when the patch is getting low.
Yeah, I prefer the flashy. Like, they put up an alert, but make sure it has zero sound, it's map wide, and it just flashes on the map that, like, somebody needs to go pick me up. But then again, and we don't really have... technically, this copper example is a good example, where you have a patch that ends up bifurcated. So this ends up becoming two patches. And
that's the only reason why I actually don't use the circuit network like I described, because for exactly that reason.
Yeah, one of the patches ends up being demolished and the other patch keeps going. Yeah,
and now it's two patches.
Yeah, that happens, like this 1.6 on the right, that would happen on that patch very, very quickly because there's not much ore across that narrow paint part, and that ended up as two patches. So, well, actually it's happened here. We have coal 249 and also 1.9 million. So this ended up bifurcated, which does mean that if you're pinning these numbers, eventually, like, one of them is going to split into two, and the number you might have pinned might end up being the 249. Because just
suddenly drops.
Yeah.
Like, where'd my coal go?
Just when it separates, they just, like, this is the one you pinned. It happens to be that one, which happens to be the one that just, vanishes from several million to nothing. So cool feature. I'm definitely going to use it to search for resources. I'm never going to use it to pin resources. I just don't think I care enough.
Oh, yeah. I've never been I've made my feeling clear. Your mine resources, you don't mark them.
Yeah, unless it's like super, super rare. But even if I'm thinking like uranium, I just don't care. And that's probably the rarest
so much
resource.
Uranium now. So for those that don't know, uranium used to come in like 60k patches. They used to be super scarce when it was first introduced. Now you just get like 5 billion just on the first one you find.
Yeah, they're now pretty much like the first patch you'll never mine through. And if you're ever worried about it, just mine it. Just tap a second one, you're done.
Yeah, just tap a second one and you're done for the rest of time.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see myself pinning anything. I am curious what the purple ore is up here. That's some purple. That's new.
Yeah, no, that's, is that titanium?
Well, like...
There's a lot of it, whatever the hell it is.
Well, there's two patches. There's one here and one here. I would go with titanium, but I don't think... Have we had titanium confirmed? I don't think we have.
Not officially, no. We've only had calcite confirmed on Vulcanus currently.
Yeah, we've had the assumption that there'd be something stronger than steel, but we've had no confirmation of titanium. So,
I think we've only seen it in, in train GUI, in map screenshots, and it just happened to be there.
I don't remember the word titanium marked anywhere. That's the thing. Like, I think we've seen something that was questionable, like purple ore, but I don't think we've actually had a confirmation of, hey, that is titanium. All right. So there's new purple ore. What it is, probably titanium, but we're not sure. All right. Then we have recipe crafting throughput tooltip, which is rate calculator. So it's always been a bit of debate how many tools we should give the player when it comes to working out throughput and ratios. We prefer to leave it more in the player for the players to calculate. Personally, I quite like the process of looking at a recipe, doing a bit of analysis, maths, to work out how I want to build things considering what types of belts and modules I have at hand. In the base game, that is fine. The numbers are normally nice and round, but in Space Age, it will become a mess in accounting for machine quality affecting speed, module quality affecting speed and productivity, built-in productivity of specialized machines, technologies that increase recipe productivity, bakers with modules of different qualities, beacon count, and quality affecting transmission power. That's a lot of variables.
Like, it is, yes.
Normally, base Factorio, we have productivity modules and speed modules. They're really the only two things you need to account for. And that's more like more speed means more resources in, more productivity means more resources out. They're the only two things you really need to account for. That's an awful lot more to complicate the maths, an awful lot. So they've sort of added rate calculator in it. Yeah, so we have new additions. So we have quality, which we sort of gathered. So it means any recipes this machine produces are going to innately be minus 8% of base quality. Yeah.
Speed modules causes negative quality.
Yeah.
For those wondering.
Yeah.
Like me.
Oh, no, productivity. Productivity also causes negative quality.
Oh, that does it too?
Yeah.
I completely... yeah, I've forgotten.
So, base Factorio, we have crafting speed. That's written in there. That's something we know about. Pollution is also written in there. Power consumption is also written in there. The new ones are going to be quality. Productivity is technically written in there for base Factorio, except now it's productivity from productivity modules, plus probably inherent from the machine, because the electromagnetic plant has a 50% productivity bonus, I want to say, for making green circuits from memory.
Something like that.
But then...
And then there's also the research.
Also, you might have researched green circuits having a productivity bonus, if that's an option. So that's also hidden in that productivity. I really wish this was broken down, because there's also prob mods. So I want to know where that 100% productivity comes from, basically. Just give me the numbers in brackets, please. Also, previously we had, this says beacons 8 times. In 1.0, we get, what is it? Modules affecting it?
Effect sources.
Which
is every module source having an effect.
Which is every beacon every beacon that has range, the modules in said beacon plus any modules inside the machine.
Yeah.
Which means
if you have 8 beacons on a smelter, then it's
16
8 beacons
for the
by 2 plus 2.
Yeah, so 16 for the beacons plus another 2 for the internal modules. So you'd end up with a effect modules 18, and then you need to work out where the 18 come from. Which is fine. That's how it's been up until now. But this is going to be a little bit more helpful. My only request is, can I get a breakdown of the productivity? Like modules,
that would be nice.
46%. Machine 50%, research 4%. Just it might make the box bigger, but I don't care. Make the box bigger. Go for it. And then you could probably research.
Just go full desynced with the stats.
Well, the thing is, like, you're only going to add like research would be res dot 50%, right? Modules you can shorten down to
tungsten.
Tungsten.
That's what the purple is.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. Tungsten.
There you go.
Not titanium.
I had to go back to 386 to look it up. It does. The FFF386 does actually tell you it's tungsten.
It does tell us. Okay. Tungsten, titanium, close enough. Okay. Assembly recipe info. So this is where we get bigger, further into depth with the GUI of the assembler, because it hasn't been changed in
nearly ever.
Ever? I don't actually remember it ever being changed. It probably got changed when they added modules to the game in 13, 14.
Oh, modules have been around since the very beginning. I think there was like a subtle change to the way it displays in like 14, 15, but other than that, it's pretty much always been the same.
There was a change when they changed over the UI.
In version 6, you can put productivity modules in beacons.
Yeah. Early you could. No, there was a change when they changed over the inventory. So the inventory opens on 3 pages. So that was 16, 17, 18, somewhere there.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah.
It was only a minor change.
Yeah, it was a reskinning more than anything else. So, look, the assembly machine has been relatively untouched for a long time. With space age, new machines often mean new considerations. The assembly GUI is no exception. The assembly machine product output slot shows the recipe information as the tooltip. It's nice and works well, but we uncovered some issues. The recipe information means we can't show the actual item and information. This provides us the information how spoiled the item in the output slot is. And alt-clicking the output slot opens the Factopedia, but for the item, not for the recipe. With many new alternative recipes, this was annoying. And I'm sort of surprised that the Factopedia opens it for a page for the item, but that item doesn't also show you, well, that page doesn't show you all the different recipes. Because that's sort of what I'd imagine. Like,
give you links to the alternatives.
I imagine just one page that has, like, at the top would be, this is how you make that item with, 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever it happens to be, different recipes. And then the bottom half of the page is, details about that item and what that item goes into. Very similar to what we have in Cabinet History. Like, the Cabinet History recipe book is amazing. Oh, yeah. It is really well thought out, it is very simple to use, and it's something that even in the early game, well before you've unlocked things, you can use that recipe book to understand further and deeper into the tech tree, well above where you are currently. They've changed up some things. We also need to mention that nutrients are from Jelly Yum, which has a fuel value, a yummy value.
Yeah, not fuel value. It's 2 megajoules of yummy.
Yeah. But we're both very, very confident that this is a placeholder, and I don't think it's going to be called Jelly Yum. Or a yummy value.
I think it's indicative of some mod API or some general modding API updates that we're going to see in the not too distant future.
Yeah, you're predicting that. What was it? You're going to have a biofuel value and a chemical fuel value.
It's making me think that they're going to give you the option, because I don't have to check the mod API, but I think all fuel values are common.
They are currently.
If you have a fuel, you can't divide them up and say some can go in here, some can go in there.
No.
And so now I'm thinking that maybe they're going to give you the option of tagging it, like with the pollution, where some fuels can be used in some places but not other places.
Yeah, because otherwise my first question is, can I put nuclear rocket fuel into my yummy machines?
Into the bioreactor.
Yep, and make unlimited yum.
To make extra yummy fuel.
Yep. Also, we need to mention there is
that's a mod idea.
Definitely a green barrel here that is a different green to normal green.
That's noticeously different to the lubricant. I wasn't sure at first, but the lubricant is much
lighter. Much lighter.
Yeah, greenier green.
So
this is a more greenier green blue, whereas it's green red.
Technicalities on which green is green, but whatever. Lighter and darker. Cool. Since we split the information with the slot, it makes things a lot more straightforward. So now we have the recipe that you're crafting right here. And then when you actually hover over the output slot, you get the details of that exact item in the output slot. So if you click on the recipe tooltip, you'll get the Factopedia for that recipe. And the product slot acts like every other inventory slot. The tooltips for that specific item. And if you alt-click on it, it will show that item in the Factopedia. But yes, now we can see the freshness of our nutrients with their yummy value. And the fact that they only last 5 minutes and then they go off. Which... Less yummy. Yeah. But then we can take spoiled yummies and make them unspoiled by processing them through the yummy processor again. To make them more yummy, but less yummy than they were previously.
Re-yummy them.
Re-yummy them with a 50% yumminess value. Well, 50% spoil time value. Yeah. But they're partially yummy. Cool. All right. So, different change. Probably a worthwhile change, but until we've really seen, and I think really had it hands-on, the Factopedia. I think that's the big thing. I wanna get hands-on. We're weeks away now. And I want to get hands on the Factopedia. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see how it works. And screenshots are great and everything, but yeah, I'm really hoping that it is of the class.
It's 7 weeks away now.
It is. It's really close. It's really close. We got Satisfactory in less than 2 weeks now, and then Factorio is
I was going to say 3 weeks, but damn, that one snuck up.
Yeah, it's like 10 days, 9 days, somewhere there, and then we got Factorio is like 5 weeks afterwards. So full Satisfactory playthrough in 5 weeks or less. Speedrun, here we go. The recipe changes in the output slots of the machines. I can understand that because you need to be able to hover over that item and see how good or bad that item is. So that makes sense. I do also like that they have a rocket capacity, so I can know exactly how much of an item I can jam on a rocket by hovering over it.
I think that was covered in a previous one as well, but it's the first time that we've really seen it.
Yeah. Well, we knew things had a weight, but we didn't know what the weight of any item was, etc., etc. Now, it really doesn't matter about weight. It's about how many stacks. So, yeah, you could put so many of these being this many stacks on a single rocket. And therefore, you can have a yummy rocket. That's all that matters. So, this change makes sense. I completely understand this change. I like this change. I'm curious. What?
It's great.
It's great, yeah. Yeah, I'm still curious and concerned about the Factopedia and the research.
Yeah, we need to see more of that.
The resource searching is going to be handy, but it's going to be one of those, you'll use it and then forget about it, and it will just, it's one of those quality of life things that you after you've used it a dozen times, you're like, yes, I expect this to be in the game at all times. Why does this game not have it? Why does that game not have it? Why does, it's something
I think that one's more a per player thing. As I say, I'm more of a, if there's a patch, it needs to be mined, so it's not as useful to me.
Yeah, but you don't grab every patch. Like, there's no need to grab every stone patch. You just don't use stone in a large... You don't use stone in a large enough quantity for it to matter. Like, you use a lot more... Early game, it's iron, and then an awful lot of coal.
Used landfill?
I have used landfill. But then I look for the biggest... I look for the biggest stone patch. I'm like, that's the landfill patch. And it just gets auto-converted to landfill right on site. And loaded in a train as landfill. We don't ship that shit.
I mean, you've never emptied a giant patch of, like a 40 million patch of stone
into landfill?
All into landfill?
Yeah, I have multiple times. But then, like, this tiny stone patch here, do you bother? No. That's not
No, that just gets turned into furnaces.
You don't need that many furnaces. And you're going to go electric, Mojo. Let's be honest. You're going to go electric. You don't need that many furnaces. And furnaces can get converted to boilers. You don't need boilers.
Could someone point out that stone goes into electric furnaces?
Does it?
Red circuits, brick and steel.
Yes, I guess converted into brick. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yes.
I'm thinking about raw stone. Look. I was trying to say, it's one of those features that you're just going to expect in a game after you've used it in Factorio. And I can liken this to, I've been playing Shapes. Have you played Shapes 2 recently?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay.
Do you know what? Actually, if anything, the ore search would be amazing in desynced.
Probably. Yes, because the resource nodes are hard to see on the map, and there's not that many of them.
They are hard to see, and they are hard to keep track of.
Yeah, and you're constantly going through them and moving out to the next patch. And because it's...
And obliterating them, yep.
Yeah, and because it's robot-based rather than train-based, there's no large infrastructure tying it back to the next... tying it back into a main line. So it's hard to know where you've been and haven't been. So you just mine everything. That is definitely a game where you just mine everything. Yeah, but... So, features that I expect in a game that are not in a game. So in Factorio, running belts is very, very easy. You drag them left, you press R, then you could drag them right, up, down, left, right, and they just rotate with an R. Okay, very, very simple. We're all used to it. Capital industry, because the belts are a solid entity from start to end, you drag a belt, on across a diagonal, and if it went right and then up, and you wanted to go up, then right, you'd hold down control and it'd swap. And that's a feature that after playing enough capital industry, I sort of expect in other games. And in Factorio, I dragged the belt A to B and it just went it drew the whole belt as one piece. I'd expect that sort of control to have it flip between, one option on where to put the right angle and, where to put the corner and the other option. In capital industry, that's a feature. It's not in Shapes. And it's one of those little things that after using it enough times, I expect it to be there. And then when it's not there in a game, I find it frustrating. I think
it's one of those features that's just it's underrated but amazing. Just having a button that changes the Pathfinder algorithm.
Yeah, it is one of those tiny little things that after you've used enough, you expect it to be in the next game, the next whatever. And when it's not there, you're disappointed and you're frustrated. And I think resource searching is going to be one of those features that you didn't really know you wanted it until you had it. And now you just expect it to be in every game going forth. The remote view is meh. We've already said that. The highlighting is definitely a nice to have because we could highlight over patches previously. The fact they all highlight at the same time is going to be very, very handy to find the coal 249 because that's happened multiple times where I've found a patch that I thought was full and then my mouse sits on exactly the wrong tile and it says it's like nothing. And especially when you have patches that are overlapping one another, things can get crazy. You have no idea actually how much ore's there because you can't hit the right tile. So yeah, it's one of those features that's just going to be nice to have. And I don't know. Because in Factorio we built everything to ratio, now that ratios are going to be so dependent on modules and different things, I don't think you're going to be building things to ratio anymore. I think you're really going to build things like this is a base game ratio, this is a fully upgraded ratio, and then the build is somewhere currently in the middle. Waiting for more productivity research, waiting for more module research, waiting for more modules to appear, waiting for better legendaries to happen, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know how much to build into ratio we're going to do anymore. But, rant over. Question is, next week's Friday Facts. Predictions.
Ooh, what are we going to see? Maybe we'll see something with... now that we've seen tungsten and we've seen a few more things, maybe we'll finally see it. Maybe we'll finally see more of the bioreactor.
Bioreactor, tungsten, Factopedia.
I still haven't finished looking at the...
Stompers.
Fusion reactor.
Stompers. Sorry, the other Stompers. The other friends on other planets. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, we have... Here's the thing, is that Vulcanus is also a CO2-rich planet.
Yes, I don't care about pollution.
It's not a normal Nevis. So what is the pollution for Vulcanus?
I actually hadn't thought about that.
Will that system be extended again and be implemented differently?
Well, there's raw sulfur on this planet. But how much sulfur processing do you do? Maybe a lack of pollution. Like you're mining calcinite. Does that
anti-pollution
yeah
causes aggro.
Like the machines produce some amount of pollution, but then calcinite technically sort of in a roundabout way could remove pollution from the process. Possibly. Yeah, like there's obviously walls here, there's obviously defenses, there's obviously friends. So we have options for next week. Definitely have options for next week. Anyway, I don't think there's anything else left to add.
Hold out on the biters.
No, we need to know more. We need to know more. Just the amount of detail we had in last week's Friday Facts with the friends. I want the behind the scenes. I want to have that detail. Like I know we skimmed over a lot of it, and that was quite intentional because it was very, very long, but it was worth a read no matter what. And Arendelle is completely right that fans want to see the behind the scenes. Definitely want to see the behind the scenes, and that's really what the Friday Facts are. It's behind the scenes. We try to give you a quick recap of the Friday Facts, a bit of thoughts, a bit of opinions, a bit of history along the way. But yeah, I want to see the behind the scenes of the other biters on the other planets. We also have a whole nother planet we haven't mentioned. So there are options, many options to have, and not a lot of weeks left. I think that's the conclusion. Also, Mojo, I need to put out this train track for you.
Yeah, it needs rail blueprints.
Yeah. But I think we're going to leave this week's Friday Facts here. All right. Anything else?
I think we're done. Nope, that's it.
All right, that's it. We're going to call it. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and we will chat to you next week. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.